I'm going to start off with myself as an example. I'm literally one of those people who go all in, and I enjoy what I do so much that I don't need a break from it. That is really who I am. So I was just watching Lecrae podcast featuring Black China, and she had mentioned people being like too spiritual. Every post is spiritual. And Lecrae was talking about keeping it real, and it's interesting because literally, like, every post on all of my social medias mentions God, because every moment is spiritual. God is in control of every moment. There is no moment without God. Now, I understand other people's multifacetedness looks different. However, everything that I do, everything that I say, because I involve God in every part of my life, everything involves God. There's nothing else for me to talk about besides God. Whatever we talk about, I'm going to mention God because I included God in whatever we're talking about. So if we talk about what I ate, it's because God allowed me to consume that. I spoke to God about that. If I go somewhere, it's definitely going to include God because I'm not going anywhere that God didn't tell me to go. What I post, I communicate about God with that. Anything I do, everything I say, everything I include God in, because I already know what life looks like when I don't include God in it, and it's just being blind, and it's just disregarding for me not to acknowledge God in it. This is who I am, and this is who I'm forever going to be. There is no such thing as too Christian, too holy, too spiritual, and every other thing that I listed on this picture that means that. Don't let anybody try to make you look like the world. Don't let anyone try to tell you that you don't have a personality because you are very into God. Because I have a huge personality. I'm very fun. I'm very funny. I have a huge personality. I'm very, like, what people call animated or dramatic. That's what I am naturally. We have to remember that all art is a mimicking of nature. So how people act in theater is how I naturally am. I had noticed a few years ago that when I speak from my heart, it sounds like a poem, it sounds like a speech, or it sounds like something from a movie. I really feel my emotions, so it sounds very dramatic and it sounds very theatrical when I'm really, like, into something. I'm very, like, expressive. But God is always in everything that I do. Like, when I crack up laughing, I'm like, oh my God, oh God, Jesus, thank you, God. Like, when something is deep to me, I'm like, ooh, Jesus. Like, it's God. It's God or nothing, because without God, there is nothing. And so you're going to do what God calls you to do. And every post that I ever make, it will include God in it. It absolutely will, because God is my life. God changed my life. I know who I am, who I was, and what I went through, and how I got through it. And I know how the world looks. God is always left out the conversation, so I'm going to be that one who makes sure is God, who makes sure that God is in every conversation. Like, seriously. It's going to be very rare that you don't see me post about God, because if you see me, you're going to see God, and that's just really what it is. So this is about dispelling that there is no separation of physical and spiritual. The physical can only exist because of the spiritual. God created the physical, so there's no separation, literally. It's either godly or demonic. There is no in between. It's not. It's either the characteristics of God or the characteristics of the devil. And that's just really what the truth is. So when you say you being yourself, you have to understand what that really is, because to be yourself, you have to know who God made you to be. You didn't create yourself. You didn't create your personality. You didn't create your persona. Either it's a mixture of the world or it's a reflection of who God called you to be. And we're here to be who God called us to be. So I'm going to be that. And God is going to make sure that many of his children continue to be that too. Because it's a lot of joking that's offensive that goes on in the spiritual world with a lot of popular people who are Christians. And I understand that God is still working with everybody, and I pray for them when it happens, so I'm not judging them. But these are the things that God told me to pay attention to. God said, this is why I caused you to be this way. Because look at this. This is what happens. I'm not going to say anything that's offending somebody because I spoke something ungodly. If somebody is offended, it's because they're holding the spirit of offense. But it's really what they needed to hear. On the other hand, I'm not offending somebody because I'm gossiping them or saying that they look ugly or saying that they're too expressive or whatever joke. I'm not about to keep try to put my mind in the demonic realm and think of demonic jokes, but whatever it is that's demonically offensive, I'm not taking myself there. Listen, this is God's world, and I'm God's child, and I'm going to be spiritual all the time, and I'm excited to see people who this is who they are. It's no separation. I love you. And most importantly, God does too. I am a spiritual advisor. And my information is in the description area. I address in detail there about what I help my clients with. And my email is there for you to schedule an appointment. My sessions start at $45. And I am so grateful for everyone who is sowing into my ministry. You are greatly appreciated. I have always been excited for this to happen, to see people sow into me because they believe in me, because God told them to. There is no greater thing to experience monetarily than someone knowing that God sent them to you. And for you to know that this is really what God has for you. And for when both parties know, top tier, stellar, immaculate, the biggest reward. So thank you. Thank you. And yes, I do appreciate your dollar. I will always appreciate your dollar. Even when I'm a multi-millionaire, I will still appreciate your dollar. Because at this point in my life, I can buy a pack of tissue with that. All I need is a quarter more. Okay, if I don't have no money for no food, I can go get 2 packs of noodles with that. I can get 2 bottles of water with that. I can give it to a homeless person. There's been many times where I have been short just change on getting an Uber or getting food delivered to me. So, yes, I appreciate your dollar. Don't allow what you think and the arrogance of others to place me in a category with them, because I'm literally always going to reflect the character of God. I really appreciate everything that you give to me. I thank you for tithing your time. I thank you for sharing. I thank you for commenting. I thank you for liking. I thank you for watching. I thank you for trusting me to be something that you consume spiritually, because it's very important what we ingest inside of us. So I thank you for trusting me to be a safe space. I'm grateful that God allowed you to watch this. I honor you, and I cherish you, and I'm grateful that God has you alive. You have an amazing purpose. Thank you for listening.